A Mobile mother is fighting to keep her daughter's attacker behind bars in what she says is a broken parole system. Deborah Balaam says her daughter was viciously attacked by her boyfriend's ex-girlfriend. The woman was sentenced to 13 years in prison but granted parole only after serving 2.5 years. That got us to thinking, is the parole process in Alabama working? Fox News investigates parole in Alabama.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I was called about, I guess, 8 or 9 o'clock that night on January 30th, and I was told that Latasha had been stabbed.
January 30th, 2014 is seared into Deborah Balaam's memory. It's the day her daughter was viciously attacked.
She was stabbed in her heart, her abdomen, her back.
Detectives say Kayla French forced her way into Latasha Balaam's home and stabbed her 4 times. Family members say Latasha's 3-year-old daughter was there when it all happened.
From what I understand, it was about a man, a guy that Latasha was dating.
French was arrested and charged with attempted murder. She made a plea deal for assault and was sentenced to 13 years. She'd only served 2.5 years of that time, though, when she was awarded early parole.
Dear God, we come in the name of Jesus, God. We just lift you up.
The Balaams launched a petition and got another hearing. After their testimony, the board reversed its decision. French was ordered to stay behind bars until 2020. She'll now likely serve less than half of her sentence and potentially be released 7 years early.
They didn't think about the victims or the offenders' families today.
The statewide group Victims of Crime and Leniency's sole mission is keeping violent offenders like French in prison. Janet Grantham, director of the group, is deeply concerned with what she says is a broken system.
Because they are not following their own rules and regulations. They are paroling individuals that have life sentences who have served just a bare minimum of time, some of the worst in our state.
Generally, inmates aren't eligible for parole unless they've served 1/3 of their sentence or 10 years, whichever comes first. But Mobile County District Attorney Ashley Rich says these inmates are coming up for parole early.
And they're just running right back out, and that's what we call the revolving door.
In September, more than 200 Alabama inmates were granted parole, nearly 80 in October. Rich says the problem lies with state policies.
We don't have truth in sentencing in the state of Alabama. What happens in the state of Alabama is for every day that a prisoner serves in prison, they get sometimes 2, 3, or 4, as many as 4 free days for every day that they serve, okay? And so that's why these individuals are coming up for parole very quickly.
Fox 10 News received the statistical reports from the Alabama Department of Corrections, and we noticed a sharp increase of paroles per year from 2016 to 2017. In 2017, over 4,100 inmates were paroled. It's trending towards 4,000 paroles for 2018, but we cannot be sure because they stopped publishing the online data in July.
So I'm putting a moratorium on early parole.
Following concerns that the state parole board had freed violent offenders, Alabama Governor Kay Ivey placed a 75-day moratorium on early paroles, and she replaced the parole board chairman. Ivey making that announcement in a news conference October 15th with Attorney General Steve Marshall. This after the two had a meeting with the parole board. That following day, Fox 10 News went to Montgomery. Nearly 100 cases were on the docket. They had all been canceled. Victims arriving for the hearings unexpectedly met with locked doors and a sign confirming the cancellation. Some of them had traveled as far away as Georgia.
When we arrived here, we had not been notified that the parole hearings for the whole week have been canceled.
Assistant Executive Director Daryl Morgan stated the board wanted to pull all the files to determine whether they were compliant with the governor's mandate.
We're definitely apologize for the inconvenience that it's caused, but like I said, we did not, yesterday was the notification or the governor issues the executive order, so there wasn't a lot of time or wasn't the necessary time to be able to adequately notify everybody to cancel their arrangements for today.
Fox 10 News was allowed inside the hearing room as all 3 board members were going over their cases. None of them would talk to us for a one-on-one interview, but it was clear the new head of the parole board had plenty to say.
We're going to have to go through every single file this week that is already set to make sure it complies with the governor's order.
And I can't talk to any of you on camera. just love to get your reaction to that decision.
Actually, that's our reaction. We're complying with the governor's order.
So legally, the governor doesn't have the authority to remove the parole board, but what she did instead was give them 30 days to figure it out. Just what is going on when it comes to early paroles for violent offenders? They're tasked with making improvements in 4 areas: ensuring excellence in leadership, cultivating a culture of respect towards victims, ensuring adequate preparation for parole hearings, and maintaining supervision of paroles. But some say that's not going to be enough to stop what they're calling a revolving door.
Absolutely, there's a push to get them out. It's all about money. It's all about money. And we're not spending our money wisely with the Department of Corrections at this point. Our money would be spent wisely on building additional prisons.
As for Latasha's mother, her fight continues. She's writing letters to everyone she can, including President Trump. After months in the hospital, 13 surgeries, 2 open heart, countless hours of rehabilitation, her daughter survived. But the scars from that heinous attack remain, both physical and mental.
It almost claimed my child's life.
Balaams is hopeful for change. For her daughter's sake, she says, and the public's too.
They come back out, and then everybody wants to wonder, how could this be? They sit and they scratch their heads. If you had held them in there, they would not have had this opportunity to come out and harm people, harm another person, claim another victim. It makes no sense. When is enough enough?
The Board of Pardons and Paroles is appointed by the governor, but to remove a member of the board, they have to be impeached, with charges being brought by the district attorney and the case being heard in circuit court. So it's going to take some legislative action in order for something to change.